What did you make of that performance from the defense against Sask?
I think we executed most of what we wanted to get done. Every week, I think we're making a conscious effort of working on the things that we need to improve on, the explosion plays, the big plays, right? We gave up that one. We'd like to have that one back, but for the most part, uh, playing against a quarterback like Trevor Harris, anytime you're able to, you know, keep him under 70% completion percentage, you know that you're giving him some looks that aren't easy for him to read. So it's a lot to build off of.
Do you do anything like, well, except for that one play, they had like 150 yards. Do you do any of that? Of like, except for that one play, we were under 6 yards an attempt, which is an incredible number. Or do
Yeah.
you guys not look at it that way?
No, you don't look at it that way because every there's context to all of those plays. When you give them up, how you give them up. What's the game? What this game situation is when you give them up. So the goal is never to give them up. And that way, you don't ever have to talk about what happened or when it happened.
Yeah. If you never had to say except for, it's probably a good spot. There you go. Okay. Can I get your thoughts on how Tony Jones has been for you this season?
Oh man, listen. So like to me, for a guy that has only had one training camp with us, we got him middle of the year last year. He's growing into his role each and every week. Kind of expanding his role and his responsibilities. And I think when you watch him, you see a guy who plays with. In a league where there's a lot of guys that play hard and work hard, he stands out. So like that lead by example kind of effort is something we all rally behind.
What's the challenge of playing the same team back to back? Do you need to be different? How much value can you take from this film versus what you're anticipating you're going to see?
I think it's the balance between, maximizing the things you did well and getting as much, utility as you can out of those calls, and then mixing up some things that look like the things you did. And that's the challenge, is trying to, all right, what do we take out? What do we add to? You never know exactly, how they're going to attack, how they're going to respond. So we have some blind spots, and we'll find out what those are.
Talked a lot about shutting down Trevor Harris, and I think if you looked at his stat line with one passing touchdown, I believe it was, and 219 passing yards, I think you succeeded in your goal limiting him. Then you move over to the run game. Do you feel like they were going to lean more to the run game? Like, do you think in that chess match of games, how do you feel the run?
That's always it. And hats off to them, right, to being able to have another way, to stay on the field at times. It's definitely a good running back. They're very aggressive and physical up front. And they understand their scheme well. So, one of the things we have to focus in on is understanding how they attacked us in the run game, understanding what they were trying to get done, and still bring in all of those coaching points about Trevor, right, and just add that run game element to it.
What's going through your mind when Trevor's behind it? It's third and 6. He ends up doing the short kick. I know he did it a couple of years ago, but what's running through? Like, are you I'm assuming you're not anticipating this. What do you think is happening? They're not calling the kicker out?
Teams pay the kickers a lot of money to kick the ball, right? So you anticipate them kicking it. Now, there's a lot of situations. Offense may try to hard count you, see if they get a cheap penalty, that kind of thing. Hats off to them for, making a good call, a surprising call at the time. And then even within that, like we've talked about, we have adjustments, things we want to do with the quick kick, but then you always have to take into game situation. How much time is on the clock? What's the score of the game? So there's so many variables that go into how you respond to that. So good play by them.
Were you holding your breath there at the end, wondering, was that in? Like, I think a lot of us were wondering what the rule was. They originally called it safety.
Well, I anticipated it, right? Like, I kind of watched it, and at first I was like, his momentum carried him in. We should be okay. So I didn't panic too much. I was just hoping that they interpreted it the same way.
What about Ouellette, too? Stopping him, trying to keep him contained and not letting him get the second yards after contact because he was busting some tackles.
Yeah, like I think the balance is, teams that have a good run game to complement a quarterback like Trevor Harris, that's what makes them complete, right? Is okay, you set up and maybe your goal is to make it hard on Trevor, or maybe that makes it, gives Ouellette a little bit more space to run. So again, trying to maximize the looks where we're challenging the quarterback's reads, but then compressing the box so that we can still deal with the run game.
Yeah, he's such a physical guy, though. He got a lot of yards after contact, too. How do you kind of keep him, to one hit and down sort of thing, as opposed to running for 5 extra?
I think understanding, seeing how they wanted to run, anticipating like the points where you're going to make contact at, helps those guys how to, to make those tackles and get them on the ground.
You guys sat Retta. He was hurt last week. Jaden Woodby came on. What do you see from Woodby's skill set, and do you think it's possible to get both of those guys on the roster together?
So we hope we hope we can play everybody. We're always limited, and as we get closer, we'll look at the complete picture, what the offense needs, what the special teams needs, what the defense needs. But really happy with the way Woodby played as far as his first start in the CFL. He was active, physical, like all the things you want for a first-year player when he comes out, not to be hesitant to strike first, that kind of thing. So I was happy with him.
With Schmekala, do you anticipate getting Devin Adams back on the active?
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, to be determined.